What?
It's time now for My Two Favorite Librarians. Brought to you by the Copper Tree Boutique in Dale's Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.
Hi, this is My Two Favorite Librarians. I'm Denise Corey.
I'm Chantel Taylor, and today we're talking about guilty pleasure books.
What is a guilty pleasure book?
Well, I have a definition for you, Denise.
Excellent.
So, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, a guilty pleasure... You're looking at me like I'm going to say something terrible.
I was just thinking of how all of the people will start speeches with according to the dictionary, the definition of love is... Sorry. Go on. Please define.
According to the Oxford English Dictionary, a guilty pleasure is something such as a movie, TV program, or piece of music that one enjoys despite feeling that it is not generally held in high regard. Didn't mention books in there. Oxford English Dictionary.
Well, I know, in my viewing habits, in watching TV, my guilty pleasure is I love terrible reality TV shows.
Yeah, really terrible.
Really terrible. As you can attest.
Yeah, because I've had to watch it.
Say Yes to the Dress.
No, it's terrible.
Age Gap Love.
That's awful.
So many. I can't even name them all. So many terrible.
90 Day Fiancé. How could you miss that doozy?
90 Day Fiancé. Oh my goodness. I love it so much.
Which has become its own cottage industry, I feel like. They're now having people who are on the show watching new episodes of the show, like Gogglebox.
And commenting on them. Yeah. And then they also have Before the 90 Days and 90 Days Both Ways. And yes. Anyway. So in my viewing habits, I do have guilty pleasures. But I think, in terms of books, I don't think any book is a guilty pleasure.
Well, I actually don't really believe in guilty pleasures. As long as if it makes you happy and you're not hurting anyone else, go for it. What does it hurt if you're reading something or listening to something or watching something that somebody else doesn't like? Big deal.
Yeah, they don't have to read it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, in my opinion, I think people should read the things they enjoy reading.
Now, having said that, I do think that my Spotify playlist, I do like to compare it to an underwear drawer. And there's just things that people shouldn't see in there.
Your before laundry day underwear.
Yeah. There's just some things. It's really embarrassing when I look at because at the end of the year, Spotify sends you statistics. And it's always really disappointing when Taylor Swift is my number one artist for the year. And I'm just really?
Taylor Swift.
I obviously like Taylor Swift too. And I just watched that Framing Britney Spears documentary that's everybody's talking about. I watched that a couple of weeks ago. So I've been listening to Britney Spears. I was well too old for Britney Spears at the time because she was mid-90s. So I was well into grunge and...
Yes.
But that is a part of the 90s. So, I just want to listen to what makes me happy.
Yeah. And read what makes you happy.
Yes.
So, I know, a lot of people will look down on romance readers.
Yes. That is, we started off this conversation by saying I wrote almost nothing down for this show because pretty much everything I read would be considered a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. But, really, it makes you happy.
Exactly.
I don't think you should be all that proud about reading Immortals After Dark. But
I can't say things because we're on the radio, but I'll say them to you afterwards. Sarah McLean makes it sound so good.
She really does. And her podcast, that's why I read the first book. She made it sound like this amazing book. I did not love it.
Yeah, I know.
Nonetheless, I would never say to somebody else, don't read it.
Yeah.
If that's the kind of thing you want. I'll say it to you because then I have to listen to it.
Because you want to make fun of me. You're not really telling me I can't read something.
No. And the whole basis of what we do is to try and provide books and movies and information and audiobooks and magazines and whatever for whatever it is that people are interested in. And those things are not going to be the same things I'm interested in. I like horror books. I read horror. You don't like them. You won't read them. You like to read books that have werewolves in them.
I do really like a werewolf in my books.
And a werepanda. But the werebadgers are just a step too far.
I don't know about the werebadgers. Did you finish that book?
Oh my goodness, no.
Okay.
No, because when I talked to you about it, I was just really frustrated with the world building because she just kept throwing all these characters and I couldn't keep track of them. And I was just very irritated by that book.
So I'm just Googling. I don't know why everything has locked me. All my passwords have been forgotten. That's not good. I'm just Googling what like guilty pleasure books are. Okay, so here's a list from the Strand bookstore, which is in New York. And what I'm seeing is, and we talked about it last week, the Crazy Rich Asians series is considered a guilty pleasure.
Why?
I have to. What's on the list?
I have to think like things that I call beach reads. I think a lot of people would consider guilty pleasures because usually when I want a beach read, I want something where I don't have to concentrate too much. I can read the book. I can put it down. I can go for a swim. I can come back. I can have a conversation. I can go back to the book and not have to worry about, what was happening because it's easy and light.
You have to think of the source too, because it's a list from the Strand, which means it's a bunch of intellectual hipsters who think they're better than all of us who are reading like
Immortals After Dark.
No, they're not reading that. They're probably secretly burning those in the background. Suki Stackhouse is on here.
I read that whole series.
Pretty Little Liars.
I haven't read any of those.
Bridget Jones' Diary.
I read most of those. I loved Bridget Jones' Diary.
How Stella Got Her Groove Back. So again, like it's weird what people consider 50 Shades might be a big guilty pleasure that no one wanted to admit they were reading.
I think that 50 Shades, well, we have had this conversation before that erotica really increased sales of ebooks because people could read on their tablet or their phone and no one would know what they were reading.
Okay, so this is BuzzFeed. Okay, so I've never heard of the 500 Kingdoms series. It's by Mercedes Lackey. I know of her, but I don't know.
So fantasy.
The Stephanie Plum series. That might be, like, again, as someone who doesn't believe in guilty pleasure, are they the best written books? Are they getting a bit...
But they're a comfort read for you.
They are. I find them very enjoyable.
Back to them for comfort.
And sometimes, like, I own a couple of them on audiobook because I love the audiobooks, and I'll just slip them in if I'm doing, like, a big knitting session so that I have something that I don't necessarily have to pay super attention to, that I know, and I can just... It's like getting in a warm bath.
You know that there's going to be a few chuckles in it for you. Yeah, I don't...
The Princess Bride?
No.
I don't know that I consider that guilty pleasure. Gossip Girl, that's been on a couple of lists. Suki Stackhouse again. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? That's a guilty pleasure book?
It's like
Bridget Jones again.
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is like 900,000 pages long.
And that's just the first book.
About like banking fraud. I mean, okay, yeah, there's like a killer and whatever, but mostly it's about banking fraud.
The Odd Thomas series by Dean Koontz. Like, these are like, what? Who are writing these lists of guilty pleasure books? The Anita Blake series. Okay, Shopaholic.
But even so, like, again, what is wrong with enjoying the Shopaholic series?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Memory Keeper's Daughter.
So, okay. I think I do have a guilty pleasure for reading that
Outlander?
I'll admit to as soon as you stop being so shocked and appalled. You know what my guilty reading pleasure is?
Flowers in the Attic.
Trashy celebrity magazines. People and Us. I borrow those from the library because I won't buy them. Not because I don't want people to see me with them, but because I'm cheap. I borrow those from the library and I read those. And that is my, like, probably guilty pleasure. I would say that that's it.
Okay, I'm now on Bustle.
You're just so appalled by these lists.
So Gossip Girl is there. Anita Blake is there. Jodi Picoult. is here. Flowers in the Attic, another one. I might be ashamed to read Flowers in the Attic. I have read it.
I've read it. I read all of the, like, what are they called? The
Sequels?
dolls? No, the doll family. Is that?
Oh, yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I read all of their books.
You shouldn't be ashamed to read V.C. Andrews. It's delightful in the scariest way ever.
Oh my goodness. There's a lot of taboo subjects in there.
My favorite thing about V.C. Andrews is that she dedicated Flowers in the Attic to her mother. The story of the two most vicious, conniving mothers, perhaps in literary history, dedicated to her mother. One of my favorite things. Shopaholic is on this list again. Anna and the French Kiss. Do you remember Anna and the French Kiss? You hated that book. I loved that book.
It was kind of cute. I just hated it because she went to Paris and she was upset about it.
You would have been upset too if your parents sent you away in high school in your last year and you didn't get to go to senior prom with your friends. I didn't even want to go to prom, and I could understand that you would be upset. So just let it go.
Paris.
I wouldn't have wanted to go to Paris when I was in high school. I would have been annoyed.
You are a weirdo.
I feel like it's just that Anna and the French Kiss. I love Stephanie Perkins, but I feel like it's YA. A lot of people might feel like, oh, I can't.
Because it's a teen book. You're not supposed to be seen reading teen books.
Like Twilight or the Divergent series, which are on these lists as well. So again, people are a little shamed about reading.
Gossip Girl is teen books. I've read the Divergent series and the Twilight series, and I would never say to somebody, don't read those.
There is lots of delightful young adult reading out there that you shouldn't be ashamed of. It's not stupider than adults. I think a lot of people think, oh, it's just young adults.
I love young adult books.
It still explores a lot of provocative topics.
I just finished Children of Blood and Bone, and so that's a teen book. And the main character, Zaylee, ends up leading a revolution because people in her country who are born as magical beings, their magic has been taken from them, and they are treated so poorly. And so she starts this revolution for them. So, and that's a teen book, and it's great, and it has great themes. It's very interesting. Although I'm afraid to pick up the second one in the trilogy because I've read bad reviews.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which makes me think this book, and that's often the way, right? The first book is so good, and the second book is kind of like, meh.
It's the filler book.
The filler book.
A book that a lot of people might be ashamed that they're reading is Bridgerton or watching Bridgerton. We did a whole episode a couple of weeks ago about the Bridgerton series. Don't watch it with your parents or with your children, but it's delightful.
Yeah, because you don't want to have to explain or even just sit in the room with some people while those scenes are on.
Yeah, but it's fun.
It's cute. It's fun.
It's light, and there's not a lot of
I thought I was going to hate it. You were like, let's watch one show. I watched it and then sat down and watched 4 more. I haven't finished it yet, though.
So you haven't even gotten to the really steamy episodes yet.
Really? Wow.
If you haven't gotten to episodes 5 and 6.
Because it was plenty steamy.
Are they married yet?
Yes.
Okay, we may have hit episode 5.
Yeah. When they got married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bridgerton.
Can't discuss most of that on the radio.
Can't say enough good stuff about it. But again, there's lots of Netflix series that people are like, oh, I don't really want to admit that I watched that. Everybody's secretly rewatching Sex and the City right now. Or I'm rewatching Supernatural, which again...
I am too. I'm on season 12.
I started from season 1 because I didn't actually watch
I love Sam and Dean. I'm very sad that it's over. And I'm really trying to avoid spoilers, and I'm not reading anything about season 15 because I just want to enjoy it for what it is.
Mm-hmm. You enjoy because it doesn't end well.
Oh, shush.
But all those superhero shows, just the CW in general, I'm sure most people are like, oh, I never watch any show on that on that network, but it's Riverdale. And no, wait, Riverdale is Netflix. Flash and Arrow. Like, I love all those shows. And they're fun. And yeah, it's kind of the same thing every week, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
A good police procedural. That's another one. And like a Castle or a Bones.
And sometimes when you're reading books, that's what you're going for. When I read the Sookie Stackhouse books, I knew there was going to be vampires, werewolves, fights, steamy scenes. Like, it was fun. It was a fun, light read that I enjoyed. I don't just read heavy Canadian fiction.
You know, the library is more than books, Denise.
The library is more than books, Chantal.
So now I'm looking up guilty pleasure television shows.
We have Supernatural and...
This might actually qualify as an actual legit guilty pleasure, which I have admitted to watching on this show or on our, like, on the radio.
What is it?
Which the library doesn't own. Baywatch. That would be a serious guilty pleasure. We wouldn't shame you. We wouldn't.
So how about you tell me what you're reading right now? It's going to be Immortals After Dark. It's so going to be Immortals
Well,
After
actually,
Dark.
what I should have done is we're recording sessions back to back. I should have done this book last week because I'm reading some Neil Gaiman for a Facebook Live that we did last week.
Yes.
I feel like I may not finish it even though we're recording ahead of time. But I'm reading 2. So I'm listening to The Graveyard Book, which is my second time through. Cannot say enough. Love, 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 love. Neil Gaiman narrates the audiobook, which is marvelous. And I'm also listening to Stardust, which I am not loving. And I may have to switch to reading it so I can kind of push through.
Or you could watch the movie with Michelle Pfeiffer.
I have seen the movie and I liked the movie, but I feel like there are just some slight differences.
There always are.
Yeah. And so I do feel like I can't rely totally on the book or on the movie.
I'm listening to Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman.
Does he narrate that too? Because he narrates
does.
Stardust.
Oh, wow. He has a beautiful reading voice.
He really does. It's really soothing. And it's like that. There's that app that you can buy where like they narrate things for you to go to like the Calm app or something.
Okay,
it's like, I'm driving through the valley and the rain is falling on my windows as I slowly.
And you're just like, Neil Gaiman could read everything.
Exactly. He could read the phone book.
I would listen to that. Yeah. He has just a beautiful reading voice. And Neverwhere, and again, I'm reading it in preparation for the Neil Gaiman Facebook Live that we're going to do.
Which would have been on Friday.
Would have been last week. So you can go onto Facebook and watch us talking about Neil Gaiman. This book, I can't believe I've never read it, but it has so many charming parts to it. And I've been listening to it while I've been out walking. And I have literally laughed out loud walking down the street by myself. So I'm sure people are just like, But it is lovely and delightful. And I have completed 11 books so far, and all 11 of them have fit into Pop Sugar reading challenges. I am doing it. I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to finish it.
I'd just like to swing back to guilty pleasures for a second because I just found a list of guilty pleasure television shows that I'm like, I watched every single one of these during like the last year as sort of comfort.
Is Gilmore Girls on there?
No, I am anti Gilmore Girls now. They
Right.
ruined it. I can't. I ruined it. Now, I didn't ruin it. They ruined it.
Yes.
So I'm looking at this list and it's like, okay, Modern Family. Love Modern Family. I would totally rewatch that. Simpsons. I've been kind of picking and choosing episodes on Disney Plus to read.
To watch.
Oh, yeah, to watch. Yeah. Buffy.
I love Buffy.
The Golden Girls. Once Upon a Time. I totally started Once Upon a Time again. And it was like, oh, this was such a good show. I loved it. Vampire Diaries. I watched the first 3 or 4 seasons.
I couldn't get into Vampire Diaries. I tried.
It really went off a cliff towards the end there, but the first few seasons were very Friends. The Nanny. I was watching episodes of The Nanny.
Doesn't everyone watch Friends?
No.
No.
No, I think some people don't watch Friends. I haven't watched Full House. I love a good police procedural. Whenever I house sit for my friend, immediately I'm going into her on demand so I can watch like SWAT and SEAL Team and new episodes of NCIS and The Addams Family, Charmed. Ugh. I loved Charmed, the old Charmed, not the new Charmed. So there's lots and lots of guilty pleasure that no one should be ashamed.
How about we talk about March break?
No, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, we want to talk about March break.
No, I really don't.
Well, you have to talk about March break.
It's coming, whether we like it or not.
Soon. It's coming soon.
I know. Oh my God. I'm so glad I don't have to do it anymore. It's March break. I don't know what week it is. It's March break. I think it's the week
of the 14th.
Yeah, the week of the 14th. Please pre-register for programs. Julie and Sammy are putting kits together for people to pick up starting on Friday, March the 12th. They will be available in all of our libraries. You can call to sign up or come in person. Everything will be virtual this year. There's going to be no in-person programs.
But it's really important that you register because we only have so many kits that we're going to make up. So you need to pre-register so you will be able to get a kit.
Yes. There will be a limited number. If you come in here on Thursday, the 17th of March, there may not be any left. So sign up, start picking up your kits on the 12th. Everything is going to be on Facebook. We have posters and registration sheets in the branches right now, so you can check out what Julie's doing.
Yeah, and there's going to be so many fun things. I know it's all virtual, but that means that families will be able to do things on their own schedule. So they'll get to do lots of fun stuff.
All right.
So check our website for updates. Our website is
www.cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca, and all of our programs are available on Facebook.
Yay. Do you know what we're talking about next week?
I have no idea.
Canada Reads.
Oh, I thought we were cutting that.
No, I just moved it. I love Canada Reads.
Yeah, you go. I'm going to have 3 Immortals After Dark to talk about next week.
Talk to you next week.
My 2 favorite librarians. Brought to you by the Copper Tree Boutique in Dales Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.